Hi, welcome to EdStoic Education. Today what I want to look at is writing an analytical commentary. Now we're at the time of the year, the end of the year, when writing an analytical commentary you've done time and time again, and this is really looking towards prepping for the exam. However, if you're new to analytical commentaries, then this is also going to be useful for you because I'm going to go through step by step. So with an analytical commentary on the VCE exam, the question's always the same. It always says write an analytical commentary on, and it will name the text for you. In your response, you should refer to contextual factors, social purpose, stylistic and discourse features. This never changes. It's always the same. So it's really up to you then, if you're mastering the analytical commentary, to understand the context and then to become skilled in identifying the right language features, so that you're going to guide your discussion in relationship to the context, so that you can then draw out all the elements of Unit 3 and Unit 4 from the English language study design. So, what do these things mean? You need to identify and explain the register of the text, formal, informal, etc. But now you've got a lot of other elements in there. You've got your jargon to speak about now that you've studied Unit 4. So you're going to be writing these analytical commentaries in far more depth and detail. The social purposes now, you've got formal and informal. All those social purposes that you learned in Unit 3, they're still relevant and will guide the way that you handle your analytical commentary in Unit 4. The contextual factors, I think, are really important. I think too often students read them and then dismiss them and then go into analysing the text. Read it carefully. The contextual factors are really important for you. They will give you clues of what to write about. You've got all the different levels of audience, why this transcript, this speech, this text was written. So make sure that you don't just move on quickly from the contextual factors. Look at the mode, look at the situational context, look at the function, the audience, the text type, the cultural context, and the domain. Discuss stylistic and discourse features. These include any of the language features that you've studied. Okay, and they can be discussed in their subsystems. I really like the subsystem approach when you're sitting down to do your annotation. Go through and highlight everything that you can under the subsystems, collate them together, and I think if you look at the two largest subsystems, that's going to give you a number of language features to write about, guided by what the context has set up for you. So look at elision, the phonetics, phonology, the slang words, the morphology, exclamative sentences, declarative sentences, all that syntax. Look at the jargon or the insider knowledge. You know, what's it revealing about the culture, the group that is producing this text? Headings and subheadings, of course, the layout, all of those features. You need to sit down and really reflect on them before you start writing. Plan, plan, plan. I think if you do the groundwork on an AC first, well, the writing it up will become very easy and you won't miss any of your main points. So, as I said, getting started, read that background information. It is vitally important. Then, once you read that and you unpacked it, think about it carefully, then read the whole text through in the light of that context. Then go back, read it again, and start identifying any language features in that text. Annotate, annotate, annotate. Write notes, underline, highlight, have several highlighters. I really like having a highlighter for each subsystem, so you can quickly go back as you're writing up your analytical commentary. You can quickly find the examples that are most relevant for you to speak about in the text. So spend time annotating it. Of course, watch the time when you're in exam conditions. You know, you don't want to spend the whole time that you've got annotating and not writing it up. Of course, don't do that. But a carefully annotated text will bring you results. Now, for the short answers, of course, only annotate those sections of the text that you need to answer the short answer. You don't need to do an in-depth annotation on that. But the second text you absolutely do, because that's the one that's really going to demonstrate your competence. So then you can use a template or make notes under a template. So once you've annotated it, you've got all your subsystems collated, Then look at, in your introduction, explain what you are going to cover so the assessor knows what you are going to deal with, and it will flow nicely after that. Look, talk about the mode. Is it written or is it spoken? The register, how formal or informal is it? Okay, don't box yourself into one of them. Make sure that you're noting, look, there's other elements in this text. The situational context, where is this text occurring? What's happening? Why have you got this transcript? The function, what's the aim of the text? Now remember, don't mix up function with social purpose. The function is the aim of the text. Is it to persuade, to inform? Okay, save the social purposes to talk about separately. The audience, who is the text aimed at? Who is involved in it? Is there a secondary audience? Who else will see it who aren't involved in this situation? Make sure that you're identifying all those different elements. If you've got a written article, how is it formatted? Where is the text bold? Think about all those media contexts that you've looked at, all those media articles. They're all set out in different ways, whether they're electronic or in hard copy, etc. So go back. Is it a film transcript? Is it an advertisement? Is it a newspaper article? Is it a magazine? Is it an advertisement? So that will help you then guide you in the way that you're going to respond. So the cultural context, how does this text fit into our society? Remember, in the exam, you must demonstrate your knowledge of Unit 3 and Unit 4. You must demonstrate how these language features reveal identity. Right? Well, how is the jargon used? How does it identify a particular group? Is this language having other influences? So make sure you are informing the assessor about your knowledge, your expertise with all those Unit 4 elements, as well as the Unit 3 in your response. Now the domain is the general field. What's a general field or topic? Where does this fit? And then social purpose. What is the broader goal of this text? And remember, the social purpose you choose must be from the study design. You can't just invent it. It must be from the study design. Now, a way to remember what to write about. Different teachers use different techniques. With my students, I use CRAMP and with an F on the end, so they remember to write about function as well. So context, register, audience, mode, social purpose, and function. Other teachers around the state use different methods. You use the one that suits you. So if you look at the slide, the previous slide, you can see that the way that is set up, it spells out Mrs. Fat CDs. So you can use anything you like to remind yourself and write it at the top of the page in the exam so you don't forget to comment on any of the elements. So what you're doing is you're giving a really good in-depth response so that the assessor can reward you. Remember, assessors are trying to reward you. They're not trying to criticize you. Okay, what they want to do is throw marks at you. So give them plenty of opportunities to do just that. So using that information, you can pause this here. This is from a previous exam. About the context. This text is a formal advertisement published in the Age newspaper seeking a new Chief Executive Officer for WorkSafe Victoria. It informs the audience of job seekers of the skills and responsibilities needed for the job. This persuades suitable applicants to apply for a position. The social purpose is to ensure that the right candidates apply so that a suitably qualified and skilled person can be appointed to the position. Now, there's a problem in this response. Now, this is I'm not sure where this comes from, and I'm sorry I can't give that acknowledgement. This would be a student response to that topic, to a topic that they were given, to a transcript they were given. Now, social purpose here, note this, is not from the study design. So when you put your social purpose in, you need to ensure it's from the study design. Then you pick out language features from the article that feed back into that demonstrate that social purpose. So in your first paragraph, you might talk about the register first. The paragraph will give a strong start to your analytical commentary. You can talk about the register, how it's formal, how it's informal. Give examples from the text. Remember, when you give an example, you must give the line number. You need to include evidence from across all the subsystems. You have to refer to at least 2 subsystems. So If you've done your annotation correctly and you've identified those major subsystems, you'll definitely be ticking those boxes. You won't even have to think about that too much, because if you're writing a comprehensive response, you're going to, of course, hit the subsystems that you've identified in your annotation. Okay, also to look at the morphology and lexicology. How is it used? Is it slang? Is it jargon? Are there taboo words used? Why are they used? What does it reveal about the speaker or the writer or the audience? You could then move to the social purpose. Restate the social purpose. So the assessor knows that you are going to speak about something now, you're going to unpack it in a comprehensive way. Now, with the social purpose, you might say, look, there's this social purpose and there's also another social purpose. You might say that it's ticking both of these areas. That's fine, as long as you explain it fully and can demonstrate it, prove it with your evidence from the text. Evidence, line numbers. And remember, Unit 4, you must always be drawing back to Unit 4. What else does this reveal about the speaker or the writer or the audience or the intention? In paragraphs 3 or 4, it's up to you really, and this will be dictated by the text that they give you. So you could probably talk about morphology, lexicology. Don't limit yourself just because you've spoken about 2 subsystems. If you're talking about one of the aspects of Unit 4 and another subsystem is going to be really relevant to demonstrate that, then of course do it. Okay, so you're ticking all those boxes, you've done what you should, but you also want to give a very strong response. An in-depth, sharp, precise, comprehensive, analytical. Now remember this tip. If you are writing anything in your response that anyone could write without having studied English language, that's not good enough. So if you're writing something which is just an observation or a comment on the text that anyone would be able to see for themselves, that's not good enough. You need to demonstrate with and using your meta language all your skills, all your knowledge about English language and language use. So when you're going over your AC, if you've just got an observation, that's a waste. The assessor cannot throw marks at you just for observing what's in the text. You need to analyse the text. You need to be able to describe in depth, in detail, in a sophisticated way, why the speaker or why the writer has chosen these lexemes, has chosen this patterning. Okay, so that's a good way when you're reading over your work. If you're just making a statement, that's not good enough. Add something to it so you can show some analysis. And that's where I'm going to leave it for today. Just remember, if you like this, can you please like, subscribe, and if you'd like to share it around, please share. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.